Yay! The Terrifier Art the Clown is here tonight. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another jam-packed action edition of the end of the night. I, of course, am David Lee Madison, your host, and this gentleman right here is my lovely and talented co-host and producer, Mr. Joe Ridley. Joe, how are you doing on this lovely Sunday evening?
I am excited for this show. This episode is going to be phenomenal.
Can you believe we have, of course, David Howard Thornton, Art the Clown himself, on the show tonight? A dear friend of the show, has been on all the network shows several times, been on this show several times, and is just a great guy, and is now become the face of horror. I couldn't be prouder of him. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. He's going to be joining us in just a few minutes. We haven't been on since Halloween, have we?
We have not.
How was your Halloween?
It was great. There were a bunch of kids that came to the new house, and everything was just awesome, except the dogs. Dogs didn't like Halloween.
No, really? I got to spend it for the first time. I went up to Massachusetts to hang out with my daughter, and I got to spend it in Massachusetts for the first time. And we had a blast. It was fantastic.
Wait a minute. Didn't you go to some certain road and do some stuff?
That was on Goosey Night, the night before Halloween. Of course, I went to Clinton Road, and I actually live streamed from Clinton Road from, I think, around 6 p.m. Eastern to right around midnight Eastern. And I tell you, that is some scary-ass shit, that road. We ultimately ended up eating in the Blairstown Diner, which is the diner that's made famous for being in Friday the 13th. So that was pretty epic.
We got comments coming in. We got to hit these real fast. Facebook user, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. Just the way I wanted to end my night. What's up, gentlemen? I hope you're having a good day.
We are having a great day. Thank you for watching.
I'll let you take this one.
My dear friend Emmett from Haven for Heroes. A great shop. If you're in the Pike County or the Orange County region of New York, stop in Port Jervis to see my friend Emmett at Haven for Heroes. Great store. Sean, how are you, my friend? Kelly, I hope you are well. Terry, I can't wait to see your movie. I'm super excited. Hi, Ken. I hope you are well. Robert, I hope everything is cool with you. And Susie, happy Sunday. Now, before we start, there's a couple of things I want to schmooze about. First of all, our lovely co-host and dear friend, who I'm going to start calling Ferris Bueller from now on, because he's literally absent more than Ferris Bueller. I'm starting to feel like Ed Rooney. But our dear co-host and dear friend, Grunkle Scott, sadly is under the weather and will not be joining us tonight. So, Scott, please get well soon. We love you and we hope you feel better. The show is not the same without you. So, since we last convened, Joe, a couple of cool things happened. First off, I went, I think about a week ago, if I'm not mistaken, to see our dear friend Ed McKeever's new werewolf movie, The Beast Comes at Midnight. I got to see it at a showing at the Great Pocono Cultural Center in cinema. And I really didn't know what to expect with this film. And I'm not one to blow smoke up people's asses. If a friend of mine makes a good movie or a bad movie, sadly, they get the truth from me on what what the movie ultimately is. And here is the God's honest truth. The Beast Within is a fantastic werewolf film. It's everything you would love about no, what are you're interrupting me, Joe. What is it? Okay, I got you.
I didn't say a word.
No, I know. It's your telepathy. It's everything you want to see in a werewolf film. It's kind of like the Goonies and the Monster Squad meets the Silver Bullet werewolf. It's just a great, fun werewolf film. So I'm super proud of Ed McKeever. You did a wonderful job. The Beast Comes at Midnight. Everybody out there, make sure you get yourself a copy of this film when it's available. And if you get a chance to see it on the big screen, I would suggest you see it on the big screen because it is super taut. It's wonderfully made, and I'm very, very, very happy to say that I fully endorse that film. So go check it out. It's a great werewolf picture, and they should be very proud. Ed's son was fantastic. The younger cast in that movie really blew me away with how unbelievably well they performed. They just did a great, great film. That sounds like a great story of a werewolf. It is. CJ, check it out. The Beast Comes at Midnight. It's just a great, great film. It's funny, I can't throw out enough superlatives. I don't want to give away any of the secrets of the film. Yeah, it's just, it has Eric Roberts and Michael Pare, and they just did a wonderful, wonderful
And
job.
special effects by Joe Castro.
And special effects by Joe Castro. So if you get a chance, make yourself get a chance, check out The Beast Comes at Midnight. Just a great film. Another thing I wanted to talk about is these just came in the mail, and they are the End of the Night tarts from the great company Hearts of the Mystic Folk. And don't worry, I'll let you speak in a minute, Joe.
That's okay.
They all came in the mail. This is our flavor. It smells, and I always said wonderful thing about Joe's wife and daughter, but now I think they're finks because my house smells like my wife is cooking delicious rice pudding all day, and it's the greatest smell ever, but I ain't getting any delicious rice pudding. So, but all kidding aside, Christmas is coming, the holidays are coming. We got a whole bunch of these wonderful, wonderful scents, and they send them rapidly. They come right away, and they're packaged beautifully. And when I tell you these scents are the best, way better than Scentsy, I'm telling you the truth. Give them a try. You'll be shocked because I don't know that they last. You put one in and they last like 6 months. I mean, the other ones last like 6 hours. It's amazing how unbelievably good they are. Joe, why don't you tell the folks where they could pick them up?
Yes, please. Thank you. And that would be Hearts of the Mystic Folk on their Facebook, their Instagram, and their website, Hearts of the Mystic Folk. I believe it's .com. I got to get better with that. But thank you very much for that endorsement. And he is a repeat customer, so we greatly appreciate it.
No, absolutely. And the only reason it took me 8 months to buy my second order is because the first order was still working fantastically. Well, when you change the scent, you take the little bowl and you throw it in the freezer, and then the puck pops out. And usually when you pop those little pucks out, you throw them in the garbage because they don't have scent anymore. Your product is so amazing that you get to keep the pucks and continuously use the scents, and they're really just that fantastic. So last night I was at the Pocono, again, Cultural Center and Cinema for a screening of Clerks III. It is the second time I got to see it. Last night was the first time I got to see it with the star, Mr. Dante himself, Brian O'Halloran, who's just a schlep I know. And it was, all kidding aside, watching it a second time, and you're looking for the nuance, and you're looking for things. You always look at a movie differently when you watch it the second time. I liked it even better the second time. And all kidding aside, Brian's performance in that film is otherworldly, and it flabbergasts me that he did such an amazing job. Not that I never thought he was capable of doing it. I always knew Brian. I know Brian. I was blessed to work with him on several films, and I know he's an amazing actor. but he really, really got to display amazing acting chops in that film, and I'm super proud of him. And but you know what? The movie ended like 11, and Brian was signing some autographs, and we were hanging out with some people outside the theater. And as I was driving home, Joe, there's this really, really dark and scary road that I live literally up in the mountains of Pennsylvania. And there's this dark and scary road that I was driving, pitch black, out of nowhere, this giant thing that looked like an elk. It had to weigh, no exaggeration, like 400 or 500 pounds, runs into the side of my car and literally like tears the whole right side of it off. Luckily, I had my wife, daughter, and mother-in-law in the car. Sadly, my mother-in-law was on the other side. My daughter was on the side that the moose got hit the car. But luckily, everybody was okay. Horrifying. Ripped the side view mirror off. Ripped the front quarter panel. Made like a giant rip through the thing. And the thing literally kind of just snarled at me and ran back in the woods. Like, dude, it was like I looked. I'm like, schmuck, you ran into me. So
Wow.
that part kind of sucked. Well, tonight we have we're going to start a new segment, Joe. On episode number 2,456,000, we finally came up with a good skit. And to help our dear friend Wendy Zier, who's going to help us with this skit when she is available. She's extraordinarily talented, and she's very, very busy voice actress. But she's going to help us do our weekly top 10 lists. Wow. So, Joe,
yes.
Without further ado, let's bring the lovely and talented Wendy out to do our top 10 list, and she's going to let everybody know what our top 10 list is. Ladies and gentlemen, Wendy Zier.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me, guys.
Hello, how are you, Wendy?
Before I start, I have to tell you, Joe, I went and I looked at these, the Mystic melts. They look delicious. I'm going to order some. The problem is I saw them. I'm going to eat them. And I'm not supposed to eat them. I'm pretty sure, right?
You know what's funny? They look like little chocolate bars,
like
little
chocolate.
Candy bars. And they smell, and they smell so fantastic. And I'm like a big stupid lummox, so I always want to put things in my mouth. But
when kids would get that wine that smelled good, I would always try to eat it. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm not supposed to eat that. So
absolutely. And so, Wendy, how are you tonight? How are you in lovely? You're in North Carolina, if I'm not correct.
North Carolina. I know.
North Carolina.
If I can promote anything on the show, it's North Carolina. It's really lovely. I've been here most of my life, but I did live in New York like you, and I love it and I miss it. But this is pretty low key. I love it.
Sweet. So you're right now. It's end of the night history at 10:13 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to do our very, very first top 10 list, and this is brought to you, compiled from the home office in Lords Valley, Pennsylvania. Wendy, what is our top 10 list tonight?
All right, everyone, and I'm going to show you here's the sheet. This is the back of the top 10. I thought you might want to see this. Top 10 reasons Terrifier 2 is better than Halloween Ends.
Yay!
Yay! I wish you had a sound effect. We'll do that next time. 10. Art is nobody's bitch. 9. Anderson Cooper was nowhere to be found in Terrifier 2. 8. Halloween Kills was turned down by the Hallmark Channel for being too sappy. I saw it too. Ouch. Ouch. 7. Jason Blum has nothing to do with it.
Yay!
That's pretty funny. 6. Corey and Allison's romance was vomit-inducing. Did you guys feel that way?
Yeah, I actually threw up in my mouth 4 times. And I was only in the beginning credits.
Well, right. I know. Yeah, shame on them. They should be on the Hallmark Channel, actually, come to think of it. And 5, David Howard Thornton knows who Danielle Harris is.
Ah!
I love that. Jamie Lee Curtis not being very nice. And 4, at no point do you crave Activia during Terrifier 2. 3, the chicks are hotter. You guys are funny. 2, Richard Christie was at every showing in person. Is that true?
If you listen to Howard Stern,
All right,
you'd think so.
All right, so we need a sound effect or something for the number one. All right, thank you. And the number one reason Terrifier 2 is better than Halloween Ends? Terrifier 2 is actually a horror movie. What do you think, guys? Some good stuff. There you go. There's our superstar right there.
Oh.
By the way, what you just watched is going to take over the internet for the next week. That was funny. And you were absolutely fantastic.
Oh, stop. Go on. It's not that I read things for a living. Thank you for calling Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina. There you go. That's what I usually get paid to do. You're sending me a check in the mail, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, good.
It's gonna be those green stamps from, what was it, the Big W?
You know what, Joe? I'll tell you what. I'll take it out in trade. Send me those chocolate melts and I'll eat them. That sounds fair.
That does sound fair. I agree.
So
100%.
Wendy, I the next time we have a top 10 list, we'd be honored to have you on to read it. Now you're not going to be around next week, are you? You're going to be vacationing with Scott somewhere, apparently.
I'm going to be in Ohio, but I'll be back the next week. I will be back the next week. I know.
You're not going to be able to read why Parker Lewis is better than Ferris Bueller top 10 list.
Oh, I might be able to get on. Maybe I could get on.
Hey, maybe pre-recorded.
Yes. For those of you watching tonight.
Yeah, I might be able to do it. I actually might be able to do it. I might be able to hop on.
For those of you watching tonight, we have the great Corin Nemec next week of Parker Lewis fame. Wendy, my dear, thank you so much. Would you like to pop on and be a part of the interview a little bit later on?
I would. You want me to hang around? I'm here.
If you don't mind, hang around. We'll pop in on you. We'll pop in on you in a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm right here.
Wendy Zier.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you. Man, let me tell you, I was watching David in the green room the whole time she was doing that. And the facial expressions alone.
Shit, that was fun. You know what? She is, that was a funny top 10 list.
We got to hit some of these comments real fast, if we may. Let's see. I don't know where to. Ed is saying, thank you so much. Appreciate you all. Team Beast.
Great film, Ed. Congratulations.
Hey guys, we appreciate everybody who's buying Hearts of the Mystic Folk. That's awesome. Haven for Heroes saying I wanted to go, but house is still under quarantine.
I think he's talking about the Clerks. Yeah, that's
okay, and then Mr. Crut is in the house.
Yes, thank you, Jim. Everybody survived. The car took a really crappy beating, but we all survived.
Wow, that's just rude and mean. I don't know where you're coming from. That
who was that? Who said something mean?
Well, I'll pull it up. Fart the Clown absolutely sucks. He looks like something that was made by those emo goth kids dancing under the overpass. Smooth, freeing, cringe garbage. I think you're in the wrong
That
house.
dude looks like a Trump supporter, so I think that's probably what the problem is. He has trouble walking and chewing gum, and he is just a schmuck. So
wow,
pay no attention.
Ken saying, is there anything better than Halloween Ends? Love it. She is lovely. Well, obviously they're not talking about us. And hello, guys.
All as well. Great show. Thank you, Michael.
And then just Judith. Hi, David, Joe, and David from Terrifier 2 team. Big congratulations.
You know what? We've been keeping this icon in the green room way too long.
I'm sorry.
Without further ado, a dear friend of the show and somebody I really, really have nothing but the utmost respect for and consider a dear friend, Mr. David Howard Thornton. Dave!
Hey! I do know who Danielle Harris is.
Yes, you do. Congratulations.
It's like, oh my gosh, that was hilarious.
Thank you. We, I was trying to make something. I was a big fan of Letterman growing up, and I'm sure you were too.
Of course.
And I kind of missed his kind of goofy, lighthearted top 10 list. So I was like, Wendy is a voiceover actress. She's beautiful and charming. And I want her to be a part of the show now that Grunkle Scott has disappeared into the ether. We're going to have her do top 10s.
poor Scott. I understand how he's going what he's going through right now. I've been having this wonderful sinus infection, like remnant stuff, for like 2 weeks. So I'm like, if I cough, I'm sorry. I don't have COVID.
It's probably from. I mean, Dave, you're like the hottest actor in the entire country, and I'm not just saying that. I am so proud of you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
There are so many people in this who hit it and become assholes, and I know that you're not going to do that because your nature is you're just a great guy, and it's very, very great to see somebody who paid their dues and somebody who absolutely gets it become the next horror icon. I have so many dear friends who I spoke to about your film. Some great all-time directors who say they are absolutely thrilled with what you guys are doing. They say it was fantastic, and I see even Stephen King said a few things about your film.
Man, I was like, Damien and I were in line at TSA when we read that because we're about to fly out to England for the Love of Horror, and I just let out this like, holy shit. I just forgot where I was in the moment, and of course everybody's like looking at us. So I'm like, oh, sorry, Stephen King. Try not to pass out.
I mean, anybody who saw All Hallows Eve and Terrifier 1 knew it was just a matter of time before the character got the traction that it has now. You guys are about to gross $10 million at the U.S. box office. I hope, Dave, that you got a piece of that and that you're going to buy me a Taco Supreme when we get
I'm lucky. I did have the forethought to get some points on the back end. So I'm like, whew, good job, past David.
Well, kidding aside,
we did not expect this.
Congratulations. It's absolutely amazing.
You.
What do you think is touching so many people about this film? And I understand, and I'm not being a jerk. I really not. I understand it's a hardcore horror movie, which I love, and a lot of people do. And I know that this movie touches people in a certain way. What do you think the genesis of that is?
Oh, geez. I think it's more just to do with that we're just getting back to brass tacks with the genre. It's I feel like this type of movie has been playing it way too safe in the past decade or so. It's just like, especially with mainstream horror, it seems like they're all trying to play it as safe as possible just so they can put more butts in the seats. And I think we've proven that that's not the case. It's like audiences, when they go into a slasher movie, they want to see the craziness. They want to have fun. And that's going to put butts in seats. Even if it's unrated, you're going to still get younger kids coming in somehow to go see it. And people are going multiple times to see it in the theaters too, which is unheard of in this day and age when, ticket prices are like $20 or more.
No, absolutely. It reminds me a lot of when Peter Jackson did the great 1980s film Dead Alive.
Yes.
Did you see that movie, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah. It was so over the top, yet it was so fun. It had such an enormous market. Where do you think Art the Clown goes from here? I mean, we met him in All Hallows Eve. We met him in Terrifier 1 and 2 and now 2. What do you think? Where do you think the character can grow? I mean, I hope it's not going to turn into a sappy Hallmark love story.
Oh God,
Terrifier 3. That would
where he's only in the movie for like 9 minutes.
Yeah, and he gets his ass kicked by
just a refrigerator being thrown on top of him.
Yeah, Emmanuel Lewis shows up and kicks his ass. That would be terrible.
He gets beaten up by a guy that was beaten up by band nerds. It's like right after he's taken, he in the previous film goes Jackie Chan on a whole entire crowd of people that had been beating him up and stuff like that.
No, he took out some dude with the jaws of life and a giant 8 firemen.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Don't get me started. Don't get me started on that. It's just, oh my, I booed. I literally booed the ending of that movie. I
No,
was so mad.
and I know this isn't sour grapes on your part. I mean,
No,
Terrifier 2 is
I'm a huge Halloween fan.
absolutely. And
Huge Halloween fan.
and your film is the film everybody's talking about when there was this big, $60 million Halloween, what was supposed to end one of the most iconic horror series of all time.
Yeah.
And they really, really failed the horror public.
It felt like a slap in the face. That's what it felt like to me. I'm like, as a fan, I felt like I was, because they've been hyping this movie up for years. Like this is going to be the end all be all of that story between Laurie and Michael, and then they just relegate them to secondary characters in their own final film. Which no one goes into a Michael Myers movie to see the Corey story. It's just
Right.
like that's what made me so mad about it. I'm like, I didn't go in for this, and especially when they set him up like he's going to be the new Michael Myers, and they kill him off. I'm like, then what was the whole point? It's
No,
like, why
absolutely.
did we waste time on this guy when everybody's here to see Laurie and Michael finally duke it out? He had just killed her daughter in the last film, and then she's like, oh, okay, everything's fine.
Yeah, and since when is Michael some sappy guy who lives like in the sewer system with homeless people?
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I just don't know what happened. I felt so disrespected. I felt, and what they did to poor Diana Prince. It's like who's been a huge advocate of the that franchise on Joe Bob's show, and they relegate her like death scene kind of off screen in like blurred out shadow, and I'm like, this is what? It's like you show the kills.
No, absolutely.
You don't do that. You're like, oh, we'll show it on the the extras on the DVD. I'm like, no, you show that in the movie. That's what people go there for. We're not. That's why people go to slasher movies. They want to see the kills, and I think that's why Terrifier resonated more with people. We showed
Absolutely.
the kills. We had fun with it. We stayed true to the character, and that's where I want for the character to keep going forward. Is like I want to stay true to the original intent of this character, the original concept of him.
And you know what, Dave? I think with the way Halloween Kills kind of was like a giant fart cloud of a movie, it was wonderful timing for you because it was kind of as if the great Halloween franchise, the one that everybody loves, not the schlocky shit we just watched, it was kind of like Michael Myers passed the baton on to Art the Clown, and I see it in all the fan art. I see it in all the blogs. I see it on all the horror stuff. Everybody is making memes and artwork where Art the Clown is now the new king of horror, and Michael Myers is kind of like a sad sap that was left behind. How does that make you feel, knowing that you are now, you're Michael Myers, you're Freddy Krueger of a generation, you're the Pinhead, you are in the Pantheon of great horror icons, a dream that only less than a handful of people get to live, and now you have to carry that mantle. Do you feel any pressure?
Definitely a little bit of pressure, definitely, because I'm like I feel like we're sort of, I hope, ushering in a new era of slasher films. Is like whereas like Mike Flanagan called it the mega slasher recently, and I'm like I'm hoping that we are leading the way for filmmakers to start creating new characters and taking risks again and having fun. I think that's another thing that's been lacking, is people have forgotten just to have fun with this genre. It doesn't, you don't have to have a very I don't know, complex plot for a slasher film. No one really goes into slasher films for the plots. Let's be honest.
No, absolutely.
I mean, you can still have them, but you don't need to turn into love stories and stuff like that. It's just like have fun with it and stay true to the characters, and that's what I'm hoping. I hope we're inspiring more indie filmmakers, especially out there, because I think we have broken down some barriers in this industry. We didn't expect this. I mean, we thought we were just going into like maybe 500 theaters at most for 3 days, and it turned that we're still going possibly into our sixth weekend in well over 500 theaters nationwide, and that's beyond any of our expectations. We didn't even expect to crack 1 million. So
And
this is
and in the national top 10, it's absolutely
yeah.
mind-boggling what you guys. It's all over every major Hollywood trade magazine how big the film is. Hot girls and murders, yay!
Yay!
Uh,
But I think that what this shows is this was a purely organic thing that happened with us. We didn't have a big, huge Hollywood production team behind us doing publicity for us. Some people think that because there's been so much out there about us, but I'm like, that wasn't the case. It was purely fan driven. It started with the fans just tweeting their experiences at the theaters, what they saw, how people were reacting to the movie, and it just snowballed from there. Where the media actually started catching on to, hey, what's with this film? People are talking about, people are passing out, people are puking, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. But that it's all because the fans. It's the fans were talking about the movie and talking about it to their friends and passing the word on, and it took on a life of its own, and that just shows the power of a fan base.
no, absolutely, and it didn't hurt at all that Howard Stern talked about Terrifier
Yeah,
2 for the better part of half of one of his entire episodes.
that was
Right.
insane. I woke up that morning to like an email from my agents going, hey, so Howard Stern's people want to talk to you. And I'm like, what? It's like, are you kidding me? Because it was really funny. Like the week before, I went to go see a screening of it with some of my friends here in the city, and Tony Daniels was with us. Some people might know him as one of the voices of Gambit from X-Men, and he's a friend of Howard's, and we were going to the theater near Lincoln Center, and he's like, oh yeah, Howard lives just a few blocks up the street from here. We should pop in and say hi. I'm like, oh no, I can't do that. I'm like, but this was before he talked about on the show. But it's like, we should invite him to come see the movie with us. I'm like, no. If I doubt if Howard Stern even knows about this. And then like later on that week, Howard Stern. I'm like, what the hell is happening? It's insane.
Anybody who saw, All Hallows Eve and Terrifier could see the writing on the wall that this character was just really, really taking off, and I'm kind of shocked why people, as you know, Dave, I'm an enormous fan of yours and of your work, and I'm not shocked at all because I just know when you take somebody who's as extraordinarily talented as you are and you make them the center of a film that takes risks and takes chances, there's no chance of not being successful. It was just fantastic.
Thanks.
I also know, tell us a little bit, I mean, I could talk about Terrifier 2, and I'll get back to it, but I just want to make sure I get some other stuff in before we call it a night. And thank you again for joining us. I know how incredibly busy you are. You've been here for our Christmas specials, our Halloween specials. You enjoy when other celebrities make fun of me, which is always fun. Wonderful.
Hey, they did our first online
convention. Yes. He was a part of the very first.
The whole panel.
Convention. Yeah, that was wonderful.
That was fun.
And it seems like it was a lifetime ago.
It's crazy.
Tell us a little. I seen this right on top of your enormous success of Terrifier 2. I see that you may have a little Christmassy Grinch movie to talk that might be coming out. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, that was a hard thing to keep under wraps because I've been wanting to talk about that for ages. I filmed that earlier this year back in May in Los Angeles for a few days, and that was so much fun because I have a long history with that story. I mean, I grew up reading it. That was like the main Christmas story I read every single year, or watched on TV, all that kind of stuff. But I toured with it for 5 years as well, the musical version. And so when I was approached, the director Steve Lamort, he did a parody, like short, like trailer of The Mean One. And people were like, hey, this should be made into a movie. And so he decided to make it. And he's a good friend. He went to school with the Fuzz and the Lens guys. and they recommended me to him to play, the mean one in it. And he didn't even know at the time I had done the tour of Grinch, and I'm like, oh yeah, it was just very serendipitous, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know this character better than most people. I'm excited to do it, and it's we don't call him the Grinch in the movie because we don't want the Seuss estate to come. They're already trying to come down hard on us, even though this falls totally under fair use doctrine for parody. It's pure parody, pure camp. I mean, it's not even following the real story of the Seuss story. So, but we don't even call him the Grinch. We don't call it Whoville. We call it Newville. We don't call her Cindy Lou Who. We just call her Cindy and stuff like that. But it's a fun little romp where Cindy has grown up. She's 20 years old and comes back to Newville after being away for 20 years after this horrible thing happened one night on Christmas to her mother. And she comes back wanting revenge against this guy that has been terrorizing the town for 20 years. And that's the crux of the film. And it's a lot of fun. Pure camp is and this one actually does have a love story in it too. But it's not like, oh God, just shoehorned in there. It's like, oh, this makes perfect sense to the course of the film, and it actually has character development and growth in there instead of just being like, okay, we're just going to kill this character off and do nothing with this story.
Now, do we get to see that this Christmas time, or is it come out later this?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh God, I'm going to get so much hate. Oh my God. No, I'm shooting myself in the foot. But no, it's going to come out in December 15th on streaming platforms and for free.
Oh,
too.
Sweet.
Yeah, so yeah, it's our Christmas gift to everybody. So Merry Christmas and all that fun stuff.
That is awesome. I think on our Christmas special, we had you and John O'Hurley and Brian and everybody was on. I think you mentioned that you were about to start working on it a long while ago.
I don't think so, because I only found out about this back in like April.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
So what the hell do I know?
I can't remember.
It was brought up on the last broadcast we had with EON. That I'm pretty sure of. I just don't remember when it was.
Or maybe it wasn't Christmas. Maybe it was my birthday. Maybe it was my birthday.
I think maybe it was your birthday. That might have been
your birthday.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, because I was hinting strongly at it. That was just like, yeah, it might make your heart grow 3 sizes, type of stuff.
So I found a while back on YouTube a great clip of you doing some impersonations. Now, without putting you on the spot, and if you don't want to do this, you could say, Dave, blow it out your ass. Let's continue talking about Terrifier too. Is there 3 or 4 impersonations that you could share with us tonight that you're comfortable doing? I get it.
Yeah. Okay. I can do it. I'll do one that I think a lot of people, like younger generation, probably has no idea who this person is now, which is sad. But this is what I was known for back in college all the time. People call me Barney, and not the dinosaur, but Barney.
Don Nuts.
Yeah, in my little town of Mayberry, people tell me, the little clown comes in here, you're going to have to nip him in the bud. Yeah. Nip him in the bud.
Now, wait a minute. That sounds like Mr. Furley.
Yep. Andy, Mr. Tripper, you're not one of those, are you?
You got one more? You got 1 or 2 more for us?
Yeah,
Wait a minute. David's favorite movie. David, what is your favorite movie of all time?
Oh,
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yours. You're drinking your little beverage there, are you? Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Wow. Let's see. Of course, there's always like a character I would love to play one day, and I kind of equate Art to him in a lot of ways. He's like this version of the. If Art was a Warner Brothers character, he would be this guy. Ain't I stinking? Shut that. I would love to be the voice of Bugs one day. It's like, of course, there's another person that might have problems with that, though. That stupid rabbit. He's
Wesley Wabbit.
Wesley Wabbit, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
You were unfairly talented, Dave. Unfairly.
Yeah, that's my weird talent I had as a kid. I couldn't catch a ball to save my life, but I could imitate. Actually, I can't do it anymore since my voice changed. But when I played soccer as a kid, I could imitate the referee's whistle.
Really?
And yeah, and I would sometimes utilize that in the game. I'll be running with the ball, and then I just do the whistle sound, and all the kids would stop and look at the ref, and he's like just shrugging, and I would keep going down the field and like kick the ball in the goal, and they're like, "Well, there's no rule against it, so we gotta let it ride." You know,
It's like playing soccer with Michael Winslow.
yeah, yeah. It got to the point where like my dad, who's my coach, was like, "I no, you can't do that. That's just not fair. We gotta win fairly."
Dave, I want you to be the first person in the history of cinema to be able to do a Rich Little impersonation. I'd be very, very
God,
impressed.
I would have to look at that. You know, I would have to. I've never tried that one, so yeah.
Does Rich Little ever talk like Rich Little? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's like do a Mel Blanc impression. Which one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dawes Butler, any of those? Yeah.
The comments are just pouring in, Dave. Everybody's sending you their love, and Nikki thinks you are amazing and such a brilliant actor, David. Keep up the good work. My favorite clown ever. Looking forward to a mean one. Tim says, legendary actor Jim Krutz says, a great show, fun.
Thank you, Jim.
Just all wonderful, wonderful stuff. Dave, do you mind if I introduce you to the young lady who, Wendy, who was just, she's not here?
Oh, what? She's here now.
Okay.
You said Wendy and boom. There
Wendy
she
is a wonderful
Like Beetlejuice.
voice actress and did our top 10 tonight. She's going to step in for a moment or two here because Grunkle Scott is convalescing, doing his Grunkle Scott thing. Wendy, are you there, sweetie?
Right here. Can you see me?
It's like we're talking to you in Iraq.
Hey.
Are you there?
Iraq. You can hear me on the gunshots. David, great impressions. You know, I'm
Thank you.
voiceover, so I'm really like, especially Don Knotts. Great job.
Thank you.
And I have to tell you, you have made sadistic, vicious, killing clowns sexy. You brought sexy back to clowns.
Oh God.
And so much so, my boyfriend, I've asked him to dress up like Art the Clown.
That's amazing. You know, it's funny you say that because like when we did the premiere there in Texas, when I showed my naked butt in the movie, I let out this, "I'm sorry." I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, it's like, I think that I'm not unlike most people that of course he's horrible and does disgusting things, but you kind of like him.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Am I alone in that?
Yeah, that's the thing. He's a charismatic little bastard. It's like Freddy Krueger, where you just kind of root for him, even though you're like, God, he's doing this horrible stuff to people. But I'm like, I want to see what he's going to do next.
Wendy, you had brought up in the chat, you had mentioned that they were going to submit Terrifier for Academy Award considerations. Do you know what they were looking to submit for, Dave?
I think they were what? But I think they were submitting for like best special effects and also for myself and our wonderfully talented Lauren Lavera, who played Sienna in it, for best actor and actress. And I'm like, I see her more than me. Because I'm just like, no. But I'm like, I think they basically did this just as, why not type of shits and giggles type of thing. It's like, I think we just kind of looked at it as like, yeah, we know we're not going to get nominated. That's just not going to happen. But we just love the idea that these stuffy, Academy types have got to sit there and actually watch the movie now. There's going to be some guy in his 70s sitting there like, oh, well, I'm going to watch this killer clown movie. Oh my goodness.
What is that on the floor?
I thought Peter Fonda was in this movie. I thought Peter Fonda was in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea. I like it. We might be having a new trend. The underdogs, in the indies kind of take over the Oscars. Yeah. There's a place for them there. I don't know why it has to be. It's
they're
kind of
really
carved out this. Yeah, I agree.
There should be some category at least for horror in the Oscars, because horror movies always get overlooked, and you see some amazing performances in those movies. And like, people don't understand, especially the victims. What these victims have to do is hard work. I mean, I look at poor Lauren, what she was going through during this whole entire shoot. I mean, especially when we were filming the climax of the movie in Fright Factory. We were doing that in January in Philadelphia, and that building had no heat in it, and she's wearing next to nothing, covered in God knows what kind of like liquids, freezing, and she's tired, and she's having to give it her all every single night. You know, night after night on end, we're doing all these fight scenes with each other, and it's just like, she's amazing. Like, just the work she did in that water tank. When I saw the playback footage of that, I'm like, holy crap, she did so much acting underwater without a breathing apparatus. I mean, that was just wow to me. I mean, she's so good. She is just so good. And that's the thing, this movie would not have been the success, excuse me, the success it was if not for her. So much hinged on her performance. This was not a movie Art the Clown could have carried as his own movie on his own. It's just like, it needed her, and it needed her performance.
You know what blows my mind, Dave, is that Hollywood itself was built. American cinema was built on horror films. All the original Universal horror films like Frankenstein, Dracula, The Wolfman, they all are what built the studios. Starting with Nosferatu, and starting with King Kong. These were all the very, very, very first block.
And Bela Lugosi were some of the greatest actors. Yeah.
The very biggest films of early Hollywood that built Hollywood are horror films. And I also believe that you are 100% right. There should be a category at the Oscars for best independent film. I mean, at the very least,
definitely,
because sadly, independent films do not have the same apparatuses in place that the major studio films do. And when you have a film like yours that is literally beating, 30, 40, 50, $60 million films it's just something to be all kidding aside, I think that you and my dear friend Brian from Clerks. Did you get to see Clerks 3 yet, Dave?
I haven't had a chance, and I want to see it so badly. It's just, I've been this past month has been nuts for me.
No, I the performances coming out of independent cinema, especially this year, are the stuff of legend, and I'm so proud of you guys with what you're doing in some really great indie cinema.
There's so much great indie work that came out of the pandemic, especially too, because people were trapped at home and they just started creating their own art that way, no pun intended. And there's some great indies that came out of just the pandemic alone.
No, absolutely.
I think you're right, though. I think there should be some sort of niche for independent and or horror films to be recognized for how amazing they are and what they contribute, to the cinema landscape. Quite honestly, if I
and actually, horror films are now some of the highest grossing films of the year. They're really winning over audiences in large numbers.
They are, and that's the thing. Horror films will always sell. They will always sell in the theaters. You will always make money on horror movies. And it's why they don't get the recognition they deserve, I don't understand. Because horror is a genre that appeals to so many different demographics across the world. That's what's amazed me too, was like how many Terrifier fans there are throughout the world. Right. I hear so many messages from people, and I think in a weird way, it's part of it is because Art's silent, so he translates to so many different cultures so easily.
No, it's funny because I think one of the greatest feelings as human beings that we get is the exhilaration of fear, but the fear that we get in cinema is not in any way of a danger to us. We understand that going in, when we're not going to get hurt. Nobody we love is going to get hurt. We understand that it's make-believe. If you don't understand that going into a horror movie, you should probably not watch it. Yeah. But go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I was hurt by Halloween Ends.
It scarred you.
It it killed me a little bit inside. Yes, that little flame that blows and that glows. Where's my mind?
Yeah.
The little glow that glows inside everyone's chest that makes them people was extinguished a little bit that night.
Just had to bring that up. Sorry.
David, if I can ask, what's your favorite horror movie of all times? Like,
oh gosh, I have a hard time pinning it down because there's so many great ones that are right there in my top 5 and they're all great in their own ways. And so I just name my top 5 usually. In Halloween, the original Halloween, and I kind of lump Halloween 2 in there with it because I think that they're both such great films. And like oh god, especially part 2, just the cat and mouse game in that movie is so good. Yeah. It's just you're like this whole scene where Laurie's in the car and she's just waiting to see Michael walk out that door, and you're just dreading seeing him walk out. You're just you're so scared. The tension in those first 2 movies is so good. So I love them so, and they paved the way for so many other people. So yeah. I say the first 2 is one unit. Original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I just think is fantastic in itself. It's just oh my god, just oh god, especially the family scene at the dinner table. Oh my god, such a great scene, such a great scene. I would say probably Exorcist is up there with me. Mm-hmm. I just love that film. That's just a genuinely frightening movie. That's one that actually had people puking and passing out in the theaters.
Yeah, it was a creepy movie.
Yeah, it's so creepy. Scream, oddly enough, I might get some hate for that one, but I love Scream. Scream, actually, Scream 2 was the one that was my introduction to slasher movies. It's the first one I saw in the theaters. But I love Scream. Last year when I went out to Vegas, I watched Scream 1 again on the airplane, and it's such a clever movie. There's so many nuances. The performances are just so good, especially the little looks that Skeet and Matthew Lillard give each other. If you just know where to look, you see the clues there. If you know where to look, I'm like, this is such a smart movie. It's such a great commentary on slashers in horror movies in general. And then I would say also up there for me, probably might be my favorite one, is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 Dream Warriors, which I would say Terrifier 2 has a lot of influences from. We base a lot of things, especially that big, huge dream sequence off of
And she was a superhero, and I didn't think about that. You're right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Dave,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Wendy. Dave, where are we? What's next for Art the Clown?
Oh boy, I know some things, so I can't say, but there's a lot of things that Damien's keeping close to his to his vest right now. He won't even tell me because he likes to surprise me. But I know a direction we're going forward in Part 3, which I think is going to take some people by surprise, but they're also going to love it. It's going to be a little twist on slashers because you haven't seen a slasher icon in this scenario before, I guess you could say. So that's going to be fun for us to explore. And I think we'll be able to come up with a lot of fun creative kills in this idea form. But I definitely want to see, now that we've established Sienna and Art, as people, I want to see their stories, fleshed out further, why Art has been going after her, because that was his agenda. He was trying to get rid of her because he was going to be a threat to whatever his big plan is. And I want to explore that more in the future films. They're dynamic because now we have the Batman to his Joker. Now there's a credible threat to him now. So I think that's going to drive his character in some interesting ways now, because Part 2, he didn't view her as a threat. He didn't view anybody as a threat. He thought he was invincible. Now he actually has someone that can actually go to toe with him. So I think there are going to be some interesting character developments there with him. And also Victoria as well, that we want to flesh her out more.
I mean, that sounds a lot better than when you told me he was going to become a ballerina. So
yeah.
I'm glad you guys scrapped that idea. But
No, that's always still possible. It's just like the art of dance.
Art the Clown doing the
Yeah.
flash dance.
Oh yeah, it's like
The water on the thing.
a
when
big
he
black
can
and white
dance.
swan.
So wait a minute. Dave, I don't know if you're going to bring this up or not, but
Okay, go ahead.
Stream.
Yes. That's still going on too. We're still filming that. They added some new elements to it, and they've shot with some new icons, I guess you could say, in it. So yeah, that's coming along pretty good. So we're going to be releasing that sometime next year as well. It's like the cast for this movie is insane. It's absolutely insane. There's one person in particular I can't divulge yet who's in it, but it's like this might be one of their final performances, which is kind of cool too. And just be able to just be in a movie with this person.
Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, oh God, I wish. Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful?
It'd be weird though.
If it's a snuff movie, I'm in.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
as long as he dies.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah,
be good.
fuck that guy.
Agreed. He's a creep. We don't mean to make it political, but every now and then, right? It has to.
Oh,
be
that's
so.
not even political. That's just human, being a
Yeah,
human.
yeah.
Well, this guy's a monster, and he's done horrible things to people that did nothing to deserve it. So fuck that guy. I hope he dies soon and burns in hell.
Yes.
Wouldn't
But
it
I
be great
digress.
if Art the Clown could do a sequence where he's torturing and murdering Vladimir Putin? I would love that.
God, that would be great.
That would be like printing money, my friend.
Yeah, but
And then-
God, I'd have to be watching my back.
Kim Jong-un's house.
Never drink hot tea in a diner again.
Yes, you have to watch what you're doing.
He
Dave,
almost said squiddle.
I
Yes,
want to
moves
thank
is
you.
what
Dave, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am super proud of you, for if that means anything. I'm so happy that you have gotten such a level of success. You deserve it because you're a great guy. You're kind. You're good to fans. You're good to people. You're just a great guy. And Terrifier, you are now. We are literally right here with one of the most iconic horror characters of all time. And I'm so happy that I could say that to you, David. Congratulations on all the wonderful success. I can't wait to see what you do next. And I can't I can't tell people enough to run out and see Terrifier 2 in theaters. And the minute that it's come out in physical media, make sure you add it to your horror collection. I don't have to tell you this. Everybody's going to do it anyway because it was just fantastic. Dave, enjoy the success. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. I hope to see you on the Christmas show. The End of the Night family loves you and has nothing but pride and respect for you. And thank you for joining us tonight, Dave.
Oh, thank you. And thank you, everybody, because it's the fans that made this movie what it is. So, I want to thank every single one of you on behalf of our whole entire team. Thank you from the bottom of my dark heart for supporting this film, because you have helped us break records, and I think you've helped us change the industry, and I'm hoping this is the beginning of a lot of great things, not just for us, but just for horror movies in general. So thank you.
Yes, you are a trailblazer. Ladies and gentlemen, David Howard Thornton. Thank you, David.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you
Happy
soon.
Thanksgiving. Yes.
Yay.
Wow. What a guy.
Amazing.
What a guy.
Absolutely amazing.
I'm schwitzing, which is Yiddish for, I've got
Schwitzing?
schwitzy. No. It just means I'm on fire. It's wonderful. He was really a nice guy. Absolutely. I mean, I know you know him, but what a nice guy.
The guy is literally one of the hottest actors in show business right now. His film is breaking all kinds of independent cinema records, and he still carries himself with absolutely no ego, with charm, with charisma, and that's why he's going to do wonderful things, because he's a great guy. He's not just a blowhard who's in it for all the wrong reasons. I went back and I saw some of his audition tapes from years ago and his imitations. He actually has on YouTube. You can check it out. He does like 100 imitations in like 10 minutes of and he's just brilliant at everything he does.
Oh,
And
you haven't seen anything unless you've seen his Joker.
Really?
Go on YouTube and see his Joker. Oh my
Well,
God.
if anybody is watching, who James Gunn, who has anything to do with the DC universe, you might want to someday, because you recast these characters over and over again. If David Howard Thornton isn't the next Joker, you're doing yourself a grave injustice. And anybody who's out there, my Hollywood friends, John Favreau, if you don't hire Brian O'Halloran after seeing Clerks III, his performance as Dante is unbelievable. It actually shook me to my very core. Like these guys who are on our show, like David and Brian, have literally been on our show dozens of times, in all fairness. And to see them this summer and this fall, literally on top of the world, hitting the ball out of the ballpark with unbelievable performances, I feel like a proud nanny. So that was just very, very, very fantastic. Wendy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for doing the very, very first top 10. I was laughing like a mental patient.
Good. Yeah,
which is kind of.
I love doing it.
I was probably the only one laughing like the mental patient, but I'm very, 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 very proud of you, and thank you so much for being a part of the show. And everybody out there, if you want to cast Wendy in your film, please give her a call. She's you can contact her on her social medias.
I'm older, but I'm good. I've been around, right? I mean,
well, anybody could see that you're extraordinarily beautiful, and you have a wonderful, wonderful charm and talent and a great voice. And anybody who would like to hire you as a voiceover actor or to perform in a motion picture, reach out to Wendy. Wendy, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks guys. When you're back from Ohio.
Yeah, I'll be back. You know that. I'll record next week if you want me to.
Absolutely. We want to have some fun with Corin. All right, Wendy, be well.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
guys. Thanks.
What a great show. Great show. I mean, look at we have David Howard Thornton tonight. 2 weeks ago, we had Tom Holland. The fucking director of Fright Night and Child's Play, and like every great horror movie that ever was. We had lovely Diana Devlin last week, and next week another big show. Join us next week as the star. I'm not going to blow smoke up Corin's ass, because everybody who knows me knows my favorite show of the '80s was Sledgehammer. But everybody who knows me also knows that my second favorite show, if it's 1A and 1B, that's how close it is. I was an enormous Parker Lewis Can't Lose fan. And next week, we are going to have Parker Lewis himself on, and Corin Nemec, the star of Stargate, and Parker Lewis, and so many wonderful things. Check him out next week at 10 p.m. Hopefully Grunkle Scott will be back with us. Also going to have an enormous announcement of my upcoming film, Full Moon Fever, and I'm going to have the first pictures of my new film, The Slick and the Slender, to share with you guys next week. I was kind of keeping that under the radar, but some enormously talented people that are very recognizable got involved, and I can't wait to share some of those pictures with you guys. With that being said, again, I want to thank David Howard Thornton for being on tonight. Great guy. Everybody go out and see Terrifier 2. I want to thank Wendy for being on our show tonight. She's wonderfully talented. Grunkle Scott, get well. You're into the night. Family loves you. Get better so that we can have you back next week. Joe, is there anything else you want to say in passing?
Yes, everybody go to David Lee Madison's The End of the Night Facebook page. Hit that like and subscribe button. Also, please do the same with the Indie Escape Network on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and all the other socials.
Absolutely. With that being said, everybody, thanks again. And remember, no man is a failure who has friends. Be well, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.